Hey ladies and gentlemen, Richard Kenobi here, and this is my first ever book review, and today we're going to be reviewing Avatar, The Last Airbender, The Search graphic novels, parts 1 through 3 combined. Now, as I said, this is my first ever book review, and as you all know, I am a huge fan of Avatar. I love The Last Airbender, of course I love Legend of Korra. If you have not seen my review of Legend of Korra Season 4, go check my playlist and you'll find it's all 12 episodes reviewed. But onto this. Now, like I said, I have always wanted to pick up this book. You know, this book has been wonderful, you know, and after getting it on my birthday and reading it for 2 straight days, I loved it. You know, I fell back into my childhood. I could just hear the voices of these characters in my head as I read the dialogue. I love the stuff with Zuko's mom, Ursa. You know, I loved the explanation they give. I love how this ties in to the series itself and how it makes sense. Now, I'm just like this book, I'm going to be reviewing this book in 3 parts because it's the only true way I can do this review justice. Now, please bear in mind, if you have not read this book, or all 3 separate parts, I suggest you stop this video, you go download it on your Amazon Kindle, or you go buy it. I recommend you buy this one. This is the one I got. This is the one Michael and Brian made. But overall, yes, so if you have not read this book, go read it. It is a must-read. But anyway, so in the first part, I'm just going to be talking about, you know, Zuko's mom. In the second part, I will talk about the Avatar character, Team Avatar, and the relationship between Zuko and Azula, and how I love everything. And then in the third part, I will discuss, is this book simply just a masterpiece? And should you buy it and keep it on your shelf and read it here and now and then? And those 2 parts will be uploaded later today. This part and Dragon Ball Super will be the only 2 videos I release. But let's go ahead and get started. So of course this book takes place after the events of Book 3 of The Last Airbender. And of course, you know, it answers the big question, the big plot hole, and the question that was repeated in Season 1, Episode 1 of Legend of Korra. What happened to Zuko's mom? Well, here we go. Now, like I said, this is spoiler territory, so if you don't want to find out what happens to her, click out now. Okay, let's do this. So, we see that, you know, Ursa is, when she's young, you know, before she met Ozai, she's in love with her childhood friend named Ikam, and of course, they're just wonderful together. They're reenacting a play called Emperor Dragon, and of course, you know, they rehearse their parts. And of course, you know, it's typical love talk, and I like the chemistry between these 2. They really do seem interesting together. I like that. You know, I like how Ikam isn't just a one-dimensional, you know, past love interest. He's a really genuine character, and, you know, but then we see, you know, Fire Lord Azulon and Prince Ozai come to her town. They need her help. They want they want to know if she knows where the new Avatar is, because she is the granddaughter of Avatar Roku, and she says no, she does not know where the new Avatar is. So of course Azulon prophesies or proposes that she marry Ozai, because Ozai immediately takes a liking to her. So of course they discuss this on their carriage, and we see that Ikam is jealous, and he starts beating up the royal guards. And of course, you know, Ursa begs Ozai to stop, call off the guards. She'll talk to him. She said he's confused and he's just a childhood friend. Let me talk to him. Do it for me as a wedding present, my love. And of course he does. He grants her that, and she talks to him, and he asks, do you love him? If you love him, tell me. I will leave right now. And of course she does. And we see that Ikam goes off. You know, he's just destroyed. You can feel for this guy. You know, I really do. I feel bad for the character. And of course, you know, we see he goes into this forest called the Forest of Forgiveness. And of course, you know, that's where he spends most of his days. But what happens to him, we'll get to that later. But of course, you know, we see that Ursa marries Ozai, and they have 2 children, Azula and Prince Zuko. And of course, you know, some things are fine, but not all of them, because, you know, we see, you know, that immediately Ozai takes a liking to Azula, and he even favorites her, but as for Zuko, he treats him like crap, you know. But then we see, you know, we get this where, you know, Ursa is writing letters to Ikam, you know, and she asked one of her maids to keep it a secret from Prince Ozai. So of course she does, but she lies to her. So she takes this to Ozai, who is training on his firebending, and then when he reads the letter, he discovers, and this is a spoiler twist. If you don't want to hear this, get out now. Okay, are you ready? Zuko is not Ozai's son. He is Ikam's son. And oh my god, I literally spit out my soda. I didn't spit it on the book, but I was freaking out. This is crazy. It all makes sense. And Ozai, you know, goes to her and says, why have you been, I told you not to be writing to your past. And, you know, she says, I haven't. Then what's this I hear about Zuko is not my son? I had you followed for months. You were never with another man. How can he not be my son? And he goes crazy. He's shocked. And she says, he's not your son. And he says, okay, fine. He's not my son, so I will treat him like he's not my son. And this makes sense. This is why he shows no remorse when he sends him off. This is why he doesn't care if he burns half his face. This is why he treated Zuko like crap. And I love it. It all makes sense. And this was just wonderful, by the way. So, of course, you know, we get to the part where, you know, the 600-day battle at Ba Sing Se with Iroh. Iroh loses his son, Zuko's cousin, Luton, and, you know, Iroh is just devastated, you know, so he says he's coming home. And, you know, it's at this time that Ozai says, goes to his father and says, and I quote, Iroh is a failure. You know, he lost his son. I didn't lose any of my kids. I deserve the birthright. I deserve to be, you know, your heir to the throne. And, you know, Azulon just goes crazy. He says, how dare you talk about your brother like that? Do you have any idea what he just went through? He lost his own son. How dare you? You know what? And then he says, I'm going to kill one of your children, you know, so you can feel your brother's pain. And he tells him, you're not going to the throne. So, of course, you know, he doesn't even do anything to stop him. You know, he's shocked, but he doesn't do anything. So, Azula goes antagonize, you know, Zuko, saying, you're gonna die, you're gonna die, you're gonna die. And, of course, you know, Ursa says, what are you talking about? And she tells her mother in private what she heard. And Ursa goes crazy. And, of course, you know, Azula's being a tattletale, obviously. And she goes to Ozai and says, I won't let them kill my son. You know, he says, there's nothing I can do. You know, but you're just gonna let them? And he says, yes, I am, because I don't care. He was actually gonna die in his sleep. But she says, what about this? I know a way you can get on the throne without anybody noticing. And he says, go on. So she tells him she can create this medicine that can, you know, kills people in their sleep, and it's undetectable. It's untraceable. They'll never figure out, you know, what killed him. They'll just think he died in his sleep. And he says, okay, fine, make this medicine. But she says she'll make it under one condition. He has to protect their son. He has to keep an eye and you know, keep Zuko safe. And he says he will. So, of course, you know, he says, you best go. And she says, fine, but I'm taking my children with me. And he says, no, you're not, because, you know, how do I know you're gonna rat out on me? Because she wants to go, because put 2 and 2 together. You have this woman who can make this medicine. So, yeah. So, of course, you know, Ozai says, you can go. Don't ever come back. I will keep Zuko safe, but you can come back. And, of course, she agrees. So she leaves before she makes the poison, and then she leaves. She tells Zuko and Azula goodbye, and it's actually a really nice moment, you know, and it all makes sense now. She did it to protect Zuko, And then, of course, she goes back to her village, tries to find Ecom, but then when she does, she finds out, you know... Oh, and by the way, through this whole time, when Ozai found out that, you know, Zuko was not his son, he sent an assassin to kill Ecom, but he couldn't find him. He went through the same spirit force that I just mentioned, and he couldn't find him. That's because Ecom changed his identity. He was given a new identity by this spirit called the Mother of All Faces, whose son is Po, the face steerer. Yeah, Ko is her son. Anyway, so of course she asks, "Can this thing give me a new face too?" And he says, "Yes, it can." And she says, "But if when I have a new face, I want to go see my children." He says, "No, you can't do that because you'll only be able to see them for moments at a time, from a distance. Do you really want that?" She says, "No." So of course, when she goes, the mother says, "You know, why would you want to change your beautiful face?" She says, "I just do." And of course she says, "Okay, but do you want to forget about anything?" And Ursa asks, "Will I remember Ecom?" She asks, "Is he the one you want to forget?" She says, "No." "Then you'll remember him." But then she asks, "Do you want to forget your children?" And she says, "Yes." And immediately there was a part in me that said, "What?" So she literally has all of her memories erased. She only remembers Ecom. She doesn't remember anything about Zuko or Azula. Now, this may piss off some fans, but I will explain that in a later topic. I'm not going to discuss it now, but anyway, so of course, they live happily ever after, and they, of course, you know, have a daughter. Now, the stuff between Ecom and Ursa was really good. I enjoyed all of it from beginning to end. You know, I like how it paints the picture, and this all ties into the series, you know, it really does. And I loved, you know, what it did, you know. But, yeah, guys, that's pretty much it. Now, like I said, this was very, very good. Now, of course, we'll be talking about the other two parts in later today. So, yeah, guys, I hope you enjoyed this. Until then, this is Richard Kenobi saying, may the Force be with you. Alright, guys.